guys, it's Will from Potato Strong here. I wanted to talk about something that might help you in your goals to lose fat and do some more exercise. I noticed that at the times when you have to make a decision about eating or doing something is when you could make less than ideal choices. So the way you view those and prepare for these scenarios is going to help make or break your success. Let me give you some examples. I'm a big fan of convenience foods in the sense that you could have frozen fruit and vegetables ready to go in the freezer, frozen bread, tortillas. You could have canned food, canned beans and sauces. You could have some things cooked ahead of time, rice and potatoes, pre-washed lettuce like spinach. The other day I felt like making a salad, and I was buying this kale, pre-washed baby kale, along with same thing, spinach, organic. But I didn't have that. They didn't have any, or I ran out, so I had I had some kale in the fridge. So at the time I went to eat, I was kind of hungry, and I was thinking I don't really want to, cut the leaves off the kale and wash it, and plus all the vegetables. So I just took the spinach out of the box of pre-washed spinach and made a quick salad. And so one of the reasons why I'm eating a lot of salads is that this spinach and kale is pre-washed, ready to go. Because it's easy to skip the salad, maybe eat something that you have prepared, or focus on the main meal. So the way, I talked about this before, but a lot of things are seen as pain and pleasure. Like, okay, salad's great, but there's a bit of pain to prepare it. And, especially how many things have to be done to get that salad ready. There's a lot of people that are hardcore, they're going to do salad, it's not a problem, they're going to spend tons of time and do whatever they have to do. I'm just trying to be practical and notice certain things when I make decisions, and what the thought process is. Not everything is about quick and dirty, Obviously I'm cooking a lot more than I ever did. But you might be driving home from school or work, and you're thinking, I don't really have anything in the house, so I don't really feel like cooking, so you might go to a fast food joint or a restaurant or something. So having these things ready to go is very important. What I also noticed was with exercise, same thing with that pain and pleasure, but if you can focus on something short-term and small, like one set, say. So somebody might think, I've got to get up in the morning early before work, go to the gym, drive to the gym and deal with other people in the gym and sweat on the machines and drive into that place. So all that stuff can just make you think, forget it. What I noticed is I'm doing stuff at home that's really quick and dirty, like body weight training, calisthenics. I just do some chin-ups and some push-ups on the floor, some dips. So I'll just think, hey, let's just do a set of push-ups, get on the floor, do a set. I'm not thinking of an hour and a half workout. So a lot of times people talk about, not if you're going to write a book or whatever you want to do, don't think about the whole thing and the whole process, but just write a page or just get started. And so usually once you get into it, you keep going. So with workouts, what helps with me is if I'm working or doing whatever, I'll just think I'll do a set. I don't have to think about this big long hour and a half workout and going to the gym or even doing it at home. Just anything that's going to minimize the pain that you sort of visualize in doing that. Same thing with food. So if you're looking at what you have available in the fridge, in the freezer, ready to go. Now people say, you know, oh, you don't need to eat canned beans. You can soak them in that. But if you're thinking I want to eat a meal and you didn't necessarily have anything, you know, you don't have time to necessarily soak the beans, or so you can have these canned and frozen things, you know, as a backup if you want, for those times when you're more in a hurry or you haven't prepared ahead of time. So what I'm trying to say is that those decisions, are you going to work out or what are you going to eat, those can be crucial as far as having success on a daily basis. Another thing, because the decisions are a potential weak spot, you know, where you have to make a choice. Some people like to remove decisions so they don't have to think about it. So like if you're going to work out, say you're going to walk or whatever, every day or Monday, Wednesday, Friday or whatever, you set a schedule and you just do it. So it's like, oh, I got to work out. If you wake up every morning not sure, are you going to work out or you're not going to work out? Am I sore? Am I tired? You know, you could get into trouble that way and avoid doing things. Are you tired? You know, you just kind of go by feeling. So by setting a schedule or a pattern, you can bypass having to make a decision. And with food, some people like to do meal plans. They like to plan what they're going to eat ahead of time, and then you just eat that. And that way, you know, every time you go to eat, you don't have to decide. Like I eat a lot of the similar meals every morning, oatmeal and that, so I don't really have to think, what am I going to eat every morning. I like to have some flexibility, but everything I have at home is healthy, so I don't have to choose between an unhealthy option and a healthy option. So each person has to kind of come up with their own methodology, but I wanted to point out that one option is to remove the decision of what you're going to eat or if you're going to exercise by scheduling a meal plan or workouts. So there's no choice, you're just going to do it. Two, when you make decisions, if you're going to make a decision, have things that are going to be available, are quick and dirty, like the canned and the frozen, pre-made things, like I said, the rice and the potatoes, for example. And then with workouts, by focusing on short, one-set exercises, you can really minimize that sense of, you know, pain that you're going to have. You just have to say, oh, I'll just do one set. And you could sort of break it up over the day, or once you get started, you'll be fine. So don't really overwhelm yourself. One of my overriding principles with Potato Strong channel and page is simplification. I don't like to complicate things. So keeping things simple makes it so easy. And as far as scheduling or making decisions, at some point, some of these things become a pattern of behavior. So you don't have to necessarily schedule things that you just do on a regular basis. Like I said, with the oatmeal or whatever it is, I've got these patterns where I eat certain things. I try to take a walk. You know, the weather's getting nicer here. And the weather's nice, I take a walk. So a lot of things are habitual. And I think that a lot of success comes from doing things that you don't have to think about. So if there's a lot of pain and thinking, oh, how do I cook this? How do I make potatoes? How do I make rice? You know, everything is just painful. How do I spice something? Once you get some recipes going and you're eating them on a regular basis, it becomes automatic. So there's a few key factors here between, you know, decisions, scheduling, and then automatic behaviors, where those healthy choices are just automatic. So hopefully that helps you. I just discovered recently that, you know, the times when you make a decision is when, you know, and we do that multiple times a day, is when you can go off the rails, and so having those quick and dirty convenience foods and not focusing on the huge goal in the future or large workouts can really help make it easy. So just some pointers for you guys. Hopefully you like that. and we'll talk to you guys later.